Right, we're back. The ref pod. I don't even know how long it's been. How long's it been since you've been
Forever.
here? Have we done one since Christmas or not?
I think we did one.
We've done one.
We did one. Promised that we'd do more, and then didn't, and now we're back.
Yeah, we did kind of like a mad one, didn't we? And then like a bonus one, and then stopped. Anyway, we're back. We're hoping now we're going to get together once a week going forward, as the season comes to an end. And also we've got the Euros to look forward to. I'm sure we'll get loads to talk about when they're going on. And we'll hope to keep it weekly. Martin, have we out giving anything away? Have we got anybody lined up?
No.
You need to use the game, don't you? You know, they were talking John Barnes, Razor Ruddock, Carrigan. Now where we're at with nobody. If you're new to us, I'm Wayne. The bald one is also Wayne. And then we have Martin, who you're probably more familiar with than the two Waynes because of his ever-expanding radio and TV career. How is that anyway? Well, last time you were on?
It's good, yeah. I actually was on Sky News Live. Good piece on about the blue cards.
Yes. Well, let's start. You start there because on my agenda today that I want to go through with you guys, that is one of them. And why not start there? And you can talk a little bit about them, tell them people what they are, and then we'll debate whether they're a good thing or a bad thing. So yeah, go on, fire away.
Well, the blue cards, the way it's being framed in the media, and it's just being framed differently. And then everyone's just thinking it's going to be like an other addition to something, and that they can't even get VAR right, so what are they going to get right here with blue cards? All the normal nonsense. And I think if people understand what the idea is and behind the blue cards, because I thought we're going to release a piece about it in more detail, but because of the uproar in football saying don't use it, it's going to be a bad idea, they sort of never released it. But I know it's going to be on this agenda that's in a couple of weeks. The new IFAB thing, wasn't my light gone off for those people on YouTube? Excuse me, my light's just gone off.
I thought you were having it on anyway.
No, well, I know, yeah. Well, come on, it's on. Maybe it's someone haunting me, and it's. I think it's the right idea. As I said, I was invited onto Sky News to talk about it. I've been working on a small side of the game for many years, as you both know, and the firm I'm with now, Goals, they've been using blue cards for years, and it does have a better effect than just a sin bin. Not because it's any different to a sin bin, it's the communication tool behind it. Funny enough, I was up in Liverpool the weekend for a family do, and my godson, who's my brother's boy, and obviously my nephew, him and his father-in-law have had season tickets on the cuff for ages, and they were always ranting and raving about this, that, and the other. And I sat down with him away from a pint, away from a match, and in his house, and I explained what the idea of a blue card was. But when I described it to him in the way it should be and the way it is, it was completely different to the impression he had of what a blue card was. He said, "Really, is that what it is?" And I said, "Yeah."
Come on then, explain. Come on, because
you've got
to sell it to me because I'm not in favour of it. But go on.
But so the sin bin's been around for a while now, hasn't it? Is it 5 years at lower level football?
Sin bin at grassroots, obviously. Me and Wayne are heavily involved in grassroots kids football. I'm not sure whether are they playing in men's grassroots football, women's grassroots football, kids, juniors. They are, yeah, but I don't know.
It goes right up to like the Tool Station Western League level. So say 3 levels below National League South or North. So
it is involved in the adult
decent level, like, and when you can get 2 yellow cards for sin bins for dissent, but not get sent off in real terms. So what would happen is you get 2 yellow cards.
You're talking about the lower level of game here, aren't you? Not
right up. This is what would have happened. This is what has happened. So you can get 2 yellow cards on a sin bin now. You can get 2 yellow cards. So you get 1 yellow card for the sin bin. You go off for 5-10 minutes, whatever it is,
10.
And then the player can come back on, and he can get another yellow card, and he goes off for another 10 minutes. Now that same player can't come on after the 10 minutes. But they can replace him with another player, can't they?
No.
So you can go back up to 11.
No.
Yes, they can.
What if it's in the sin bin?
Yeah, so after the sin bin's up for the second yellow card.
Oh, yeah.
You can go back up to 11 players, can't they?
Yeah.
So what we're getting is, loads of people go, hang on, ref, you do, they're down to 10 men, he's had 2 yellows, they've had 2 yellows. No, to get confused by the fact that it's 2 yellow cards, but they can go back up to 11 players, right? must have experienced it. We hear about it all the time. So having a blue card tells you that you're only 10 players down to 10 men. Or 10 women, or whatever, 10 players. Do you see what I mean? So as a clear communication tool, just imagine if that was higher at a higher up level where there's maybe a couple of thousand people there. And the rest got it wrong, the rest again, and all the commotion you get from having 2 yellow cards, but you go, but that's what the blue card's about. It's a communication tool to say this isn't a red, it's 2 yellows and a red, it's 2 yellows and blue. So you're gonna go back up to 11 players after the second sin bid of 10 minutes. That's simple. But the way it's being framed in the newspaper, that this brand new idea, it's all this, it's just a simple way of communicating, because all the crowds and all the players, spectators, everyone are always moaning about, we never think of us, never think of us. This is the reason why. This is one of the reasons. It's going to clearly state this is a sin bin and not 2 yellow cards, but you're down to 10 men for the rest of the game, or 10 women, 10 players for the rest of the game. That's what I said on Sky News when we talked about it. And other people say, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. So sin bins have worked, as the FA has said, 38% reduction in dissent since they've come in. 38% mind. Now, also, it's been proven in the recent FA documents. Fraser Williams from the FA, who said he's going to come on, actually, who's head of discipline and senior discipline officer at Wembley, good lad. He's got evidence that they're not getting used enough. They're actually not getting used enough. And the main reason they're not getting used enough, and you two might be able to speak about this if you're issuing sin bins, is that they're a bit of a pain in the ass to administrate when you're on your own. Absolute pain. It's another thing to worry about in here. Now, so that's what some people are saying. So as you climb the ladder and you've got 2 linos, and then you've got a fourth official, you've got more people to manage it. So it'll be less of a pain in the ass for the referee. So it'll probably decrease dissent by a lot more than 38%. And that's why I'm in favour of them. There, Your Honour. I rest my case.
So in grassroots, sin bins are for dissent to the ref.
Yeah.
So is that different with the blue card?
No, it's just the same. But what got mixed up is that they were talking about they were bringing it in for other offences, weren't they? But I don't even know if that was true, because I felt didn't really release it in great detail. But it's like, I actually said it should be brought in for other offences. I think if you get done for simulation, for a clear dive, you get sin bins, which isn't currently in what it is, because it's only for dissent in it, and is brought in to control the behaviour. And I think football would want that. I think football would want that immediate response to cheating. I think football would want a sin bin for diving.
Yeah, but they're not bringing it in for diving, though, are they?
No. That's what I said. But I said,
Yeah.
This is what I said. So it's all being mixed what it was for. No one really said exactly what the changes are going to be. But from what I understand is, it was just another way to communicate that you've had 2 yellow cards, so you're going to back up to 11 players after the 10 minutes is up.
Right. Well, I don't know about what level of what you're on about. In grassroots, if you do issue a yellow for a sin bin, but you tell them it is a sin bin, so they're off for 10 minutes, and if they come back on and it happens again for dissent, you do brandish another yellow, but they can't come back on. They can't come back on after 2.
No. You can replace them with another player, can't they?
Yeah, that player can be subbed.
It can.
I didn't think they
Yeah,
could.
That player can be subbed, but that player cannot play for the rest
Cannot
of the game.
play on. So they can go back up to 11 players, but the player who's had 2 yellows can't be that player.
Right. Okay.
I'll
have to look on that and read that myself, because I didn't think that was the case. But if
it is,
did you get the?
I've never got to it anyway. I think if you're doing, I mean, we're talking about kids football, so up to under 18s. You know, if you can't manage a kid's behaviour, where you say, you know, to me, I said to a coach before, either sub him off, or I'm going to officially put him in sin bin. So I think it's all about using a little bit of common sense with your reffing. But at a grassroots level, kids football, obviously mine and Wayne's area, I think they're a really good tool. I've used it. I think it'd be an absolute disaster in the pro game. A disaster. Why? Because I find that all these little things that we're throwing in all the time are sucking the life out of the enjoyment of football. And I think that I'm not saying that it shouldn't go unpunished, but I think it should go punished with a yellow.
So if we did have VAR,
the reason, the reason why I say that is because we're not talking about dog and duck football here. We're not talking about people that they're just in it, enjoying it, playing it leisurely.
And we're not talking about the Premier League either.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about in terms of, I've said for grassroots football, it works.
Yeah.
If they introduce this at the elite end of the game, Premiership, Championship, whatever.
No, they've said no to that.
I know they have, but they're talking about trialing it in the FA Cup next year.
Yeah.
That was the news that came out. They're talking about trialing the FA Cup for the men's and women. If they did that for me, it'd be a disaster, because what would happen to the team that went down to 10 men is they put everybody behind the ball, and it'd be a ball fest for 10 minutes because it's sitting deep. Teams won't be able to break them down and wait until that player come back on. And you get 10 minutes of really shit football. And I think, add that to the fact that VAR for me is killing it. My voice is going because I had a long overdue day out with the boys yesterday and I'm a bit struggling. So, quick drink. Adding to the fact that I think VAR is sucking the life out of football. Chuck this in on top.
But it's not going to be on top. They're going to be on top, is it? It's not. You've said it's not going to be at a level where VAR is. You've said that. It's never going to be in it.
But why were they talking about trialing it in FA Cup next year?
Yeah, they were talking about it, but not VAR doesn't come into it for God knows how long, does it? VAR probably doesn't come to be what till it might not even be into the 5th round, something like that. So you have a loads of games.
No, when it does come in 5th round and they've got blue cards and they've got VAR, then what?
Well, then
no, but isn't the agreement that once VAR's in control, then blue cards are out?
Where does it say that?
Well, I got the impression that that's what Martin was saying earlier.
No. What I'm saying is, well, they never said. They said they were looking at trialing it in the Women's FA Cup and the FA Cup, which I actually disagree with, because I'm saying if you're going to bring it in, let's bring it in at all levels, right up to say the Football League. So stop it at League 2. So go National League, and sorry, it's with dogs. The National League and that's it. So League 2, you wouldn't go into League 2. I reckon that's where it should come in, rather than an FA Cup where, like you just said, Wayne, where VAR will come in later on. Probably will not come into 5th round, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then what? Take the blue card out.
No, because the problem with the blue card, the idea of the blue card is, as we've seen with everything. How many times you see fans haven't got a clue about law? It's just they'll just get wound up that someone's going to add 2 yellows. But now they're back up to 11 men. They just think the referee will make a mistake, like what happens when the referee's white, and loads of times.
I think in the professional game, if you've done that twice, then send them off.
No, but it's good for the game that if they can calm down and come back on. It's been actually proven, sin bins. It's been proven that the more they're used, the less chance there is of assault of a match official. That's been proved with the FA. That's a good thing, isn't it?
I fully support that at a grassroots level, right? Yeah. What I get it. I'm coming from an angle of professional football that we all pay to watch. We pay to watch it for enjoyment.
What's that got to do with a paying? What's that got to do with it? I hate that argument. What's that got? Why does it make you more important as a spectator? And you've got more investment in the game.
I never said it made me more important. What I'm saying is, if you pay for something, especially what we pay for it now, when you're going to watch professional sports, why do you pay to watch professional sports? Because of how good it is and how entertaining it is. You pay for entertainment. We're losing entertainment. We're losing entertainment through the changes that they're implementing all the time to fit a system that we know majority of football fans don't want. Majority
you keep going back to VAR. It's got nothing to do with VAR.
Never said it did. What I'm saying is, my argument is, adding a blue card on top of VAR, right?
It's not going to be in VAR. We said that from the beginning. This is primary for every level. Where they won it because VAR will be used in the FA Cup. But they've said VAR is predominantly used for Premier League teams, innit? No one else.
Yeah.
So it's very unlikely.
All right. I'm talking about the Premier level then. The Champions League, what majority of people watch, it'll ruin it. It'll kill it.
It won't. And I think it's really positive, because it's responding to the poor behaviour of players and managers that just isn't getting better. So the only people we can blame in this is the bleeding players. Well, we can throw
I
some
don't
stick
disagree
at the
with that.
referee.
I don't.
For not addressing with it. Actually, to be honest with you, you can throw. There's a lot of stuff that referees could have done. They could have stepped up. You know, at the beginning of the season, you know, showing imaginary cards and being really, you know, gesturing dissent was getting done, and then all of a sudden it's now not getting done. So you can put a bit of blame on the referees as well. But this is predominantly the behaviour of players and managers is getting worse. And I think it's great that IFAB for once have gone, do you know what? We're going to do something about this. Because the PFA won't do nothing. The LMA don't do anything. They don't say nothing about these people who are causing the problems. So when someone tries to do something about it, the people that are causing the problems throw the dollies out of the pram. But they don't control it.
No, it's not. Maybe I should have cleared my point up. I was talking about the elite end of the game. I think it's brilliant in I've already said it works. You know, you got a player kicking off, it works. I don't know about the men's game at grassroots. I've never seen it. I'll take your word on what you say. It works. This is not a question about it working. I'm talking at the really, really high levels of the game, which for me it wouldn't work. For me as a spectacle, it might work in terms of it reduces players kicking off, managers kicking off, which I get and I accept. Where they'll come back to you, and I know you keep saying what you're going about VAR because I'm talking about the game as a collective at the high level. They'll say VAR gets more decisions right than it does wrong, but in terms of the enjoyment of the football, the spectacle, what you're paying for, is not the same as what it were before VAR came in. So what I'm saying is, I totally agree. You know, it works at grassroots level. What I'm talking about, my angle here is looking at it from an elite level where you've already got VAR in place. Adding this for me, it'd just be a disaster at that level.
If it wasn't VAR, would you be in favour of it?
No.
So why you mentioning VAR then?
Wait, now you get what I'm saying here? I'm talking about the game as a collective.
No, what I'm getting that you're confused, mate, because what I'm getting is at Martin's level, Martin's saying blue cards won't get used when we've got VAR, where you've got Premiership football.
No, but they've already spoke about they're putting a tester event in the FA Cup.
What if it did?
No, because
what if they started making players wear roller skates?
Everything's what if, Wayne. VAR were what if 10 years ago. Will we not have a debate about VAR 10 years ago? If they're going to trial it in the FA Cup and it stays in all the way through to the final when they put VAR in place, they're trialing that in preparation for, if it works, to move it to all levels of the game. And what I'm saying is, if you implemented that at the very, very highest level of the game, where the elite players with elite managers, as soon as you went off for 10 minutes for dissent, that team will back 10 players into a penalty box. And that 10 minutes of football would be horrendous. That's my point. Not arguing whether it works. You'll tell me VAR works. You'll tell me VAR has higher percentages. What I'm saying is VAR might get most decisions right, but we're losing so much in the fabrics of a game by having this system in place that football at times is almost becoming laughable and unwatchable. And you've got us hooked now because I've liked football since I was a kid. But your next generation of kids that are growing up watching the circus of VAR, which is what it is at the minute, in my opinion, you're going to put them off. Ange Postecoglou made a really good point last week. And he said, every sport in the world is trying to speed the game up because the faster the game is, the more engrossing it becomes and the more entertaining it is. Football's going the other way. Football's slowing the game down. You know, I'm not a big fan of American football because of how stop-start it is. If it were more like rugby league, I might get on board with it. So what I'm saying is the more of these systems that we put in place, the more we take away from football at its purest core. And I said this, and I'll say this all the time. Football is a stressful game. You go there for the elation of that ball in the back of the net. And that isn't the same anymore because every time it goes in, are they going to give it? Are they going to not? Are they going to rewind it 5 cycles of play and find somebody's tapped an ankle somewhere or pull it back? And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they don't work or the blue card won't work at grassroots level. Totally agree. But at the higher level is my point, is where I'm coming from.
Well, and I disagree with you on the 10 men thing. How many times have you seen someone go down to 10 men and win a game?
Yeah, but how do they play that game?
Oh, but I don't know. But the point is, it kills the argument.
That time.
I know. because 10 men and a lot of managers, actually, I remember having a discussion about them choosing on a dog's soul. So on a red card or a penalty, they actually asked managers, what would you rather have? The goal or to go down to 10 men, the opponents? And 99% of the managers chose the goal to stay up to 11 men.
Why?
But they said sometimes it's harder to play against 10 men. But others said,
why is that?
But not because they get behind the ball like that, because it just disrupts the whole. If football was that easy, they'd do that every game, and every game would be a draw with 11 men.
Well, they do, and that's why there's some shit managers that get called out for playing boring football, aka Jose Mourinho.
It's not a fait accompli that you go down to 10 men that you're going to get everyone behind the ball.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Every single manager. I tell you right now, if it happened to me at grassroots, I pull all my players back and hang out 10 minutes. In fact, it did happen to me this season in a cup game, and I did that very same thing. But I'm talking under 13s, my team. I'm not talking paying 50, 60, 70 quid a ticket to go and sit there and watch a team defend for 10 minutes while the man's coming back on. Granted, he shouldn't have been a dickhead in first place and shown dissent, granted. But Simbin at the highest level, for me, throws in another delay, another slowdown. It affects the game that you pay to watch to be entertained. It won't be entertaining. But every other aspect of it, I agree with.
Yeah, and I just think, they'll be easier to administer as well when you've got more than one official on the ground and more people to do it, and behaviour will be curtailed. And I think if they're doing it in the FA Cup, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking actually it might be a good idea. Is because you're so far away from VAR, you're looking at like what probably start of the season. The FA Cup starts really early, doesn't it? August, doesn't it? Really early. First weeks of the season, you get the pre-qualifiers and all that, don't you? And I think you're going to be looking at probably February before you even think about having VAR involved in it.
Where would you say, Martin, that the most abuse to refs comes? At what level? Where would you say it's the worst?
I would say there's different types of abuse, and I would stun. And I think what
let's become more specific then. Let's say physical abuse, because I'm not saying verbal abuse is okay. It's not. It's far from it. But the worst case scenario is physical abuse, isn't it?
Yeah, it's outside of. I would say outside of professional level. I would say probably outside the semi-professional and below.
So like your normal dog duck standards on a Sunday, Saturday.
And maybe above, yeah. And I think what happens is the actual, not physical abuse, actual the dissent and the shouting and the sort of like dark arts of getting into it his head I would say is above semi-pro and above level. I think it's split two ways. I think it's a lot. I remember when I got promoted to the pro level, someone said to me, "What's it like at the pro level?" And I said, "You get a better quality of abuse." They're a bit more savvy with it. You know what I mean? And I think so. And then
coming back to my point, then
more visual as well. I think
is it? I know they're not talking about doing it in professional game a minute, but obviously that's the path that they may be looking to in the future. Is this better being kept at the semi-pro level and below, opposed to thinking about putting it into?
I would think for IFAB's involvement, right? I think IFAB's involvement. I'll be honest with you, but I've got no inside information clearly. I reckon a lot of this is a scare tactic. I reckon it's them saying, you don't tell. Remember Andy Ambler said about points deduction, didn't he? When he come on our podcast. Yeah. It'd be good to get him back on actually and have an update when we still haven't heard anyone getting deducted from points yet. And he did say, listen, when we deduct points from someone for behaviour, we'll let you know. So that hasn't come in yet. But like he said, and I think this is the same with the blue cards, I think football will be the same. I think the FA is serious now. We better start towing the line, because look, we've had points deduction, we've done about bleeding blue cards. We might have dodged that blue card bullet. Do you know what I mean? And I think I might be giving too much credit. You've only got to see what Klopp did. Allegedly, it looks like he didn't shake hands with the ref at the Carabao Cup final. Some say he did, some say he didn't. There's just no check on the behaviour of players. There just doesn't seem to be. They don't care about.
I love it. It's like you're leading it today. You're like, what we're going to talk about next.
Go on then.
Can you put the can we do a poll when this goes out? Get fans involved on your Twitter and ask them about blue cards and whether they want them or not, and see what response we get.
Quickly,
get onto Twitter at the Ref Pod. Martin will do this. What we do, we're releasing it Wednesday, aren't we? So we'll do it Wednesday morning and see
Yeah, right.
how
Remind me
it
when
comes on. I'll give you a nudge to remind you. So on your screens now, I'm going to put you up 2 pictures if you're watching on YouTube. Wayne, do you know anything about these 2 tackles? Because Martin does. Because Martin's been.
No, I don't think I do. No.
Right, hold up then. Hold up. You've got them there. You're looking at them. So the first one I'll put up is the Chelsea-Liverpool one from yesterday. Moses Caicedo and Ryan Gravenberch. It's a bit blurry. It's the best picture that I could get, actually. And the next one I'll show you is Curtis Jones for Liverpool. Can't remember the Tottenham player's name, but this happened this season anyway. Initial thoughts. I'll take these pictures off now, so you come back to us. So you've all seen them if you're watching on YouTube. Wayne, Martin knows the outcome of both of these. I want to ask you, looking at both of them, no card, yellow card, or red card.
Right. Well, I'd rather see a video.
No.
All I'm looking at is a
be a
picture.
trend. It's
So,
going to referee
let's
invites
take a
still
look.
pictures.
Right. So image 1, red and white.
You're talking about Liverpool Tottenham there, Curtis
Yeah.
Jones.
That looks that looks red. You've got studs in to an ankle, straight leg. That looks vicious and nasty. So that's red.
Picture 2.
Picture 2. You've got 2 people.
Blurry, so
it is a bit blurry, that, mate. It's not the best. I've got 2 people running. Where's the ball? There's the ball.
The ball's already been kicked. It's long gone.
It looks like the Chelsea guy has stamped on the leg and pushed him back. So that looks.
That, by the way, that under the Chelsea guy's foot is a Liverpool guy's foot. Look how that's actually foot.
Yeah, that's nasty. So. It looks like he stamped on him and pushed him back by that picture.
So what's that then?
So I'd say red there as well.
Martin, do you want to tell him the outcomes of these 2 challenges?
Yeah, Curtis Jones was red, and the other one
wasn't even a free kick.
Caribbean Cup final was nothing.
Not even a free kick.
So next question: where was the ref stood, position-wise, on each one?
No. Forget where the referee was stood. Do you know why?
Why?
Because in the first incident, which is Curtis Jones and the Tottenham player, he was given a yellow card for that tackle. And VAR made the referee go to the screen, and the referee changed his decision and gave a red. Yesterday, and I know there's some technical shit that they've come out with today about if he hasn't been booked, VAR can't intervene, which it doesn't even make sense in my head. That what is it there for? It intervenes everything else. Yesterday, he wasn't even told to go and look at the screen after that challenge yesterday, and the player had to leave the field on a stretcher. So there was no free kick. There was no yellow card. For the referee purists out there, the ref played advantage. Great. But a player took off, injured. Nothing. No VAR pullback. No, you need to go and have a look at this. Because I'm telling you something right now from playing football. I'm telling you, he meant to do that. I'm telling you. He was late. The ball had already gone. It kicked him. He didn't need to do what he did. That, to me, is intentional. It's a leg breaker. And he got nothing. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Liverpool fan, because it happened to somebody else this season. The Curtis Jones one, by the way, that foot rolled over the top of the ball and then hit the guy's leg. So he didn't even actually go to be where it is. His foot rolled over the ball. So if he did not roll over the ball, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So
you see, I didn't see the video to see that.
I know. And that, but you kind of answered what I want you to say.
Yeah.
They're either both the red or they're not.
Or they're not.
And that in its purest form for me is why.
Was that on
VAR's failing?
I agree. I agree that they both should be the same. But it's like, but again, it's still picture, and as you said, they are slightly different because one had the ball, one didn't have the ball, so they're not identical. The photos look identical. The actual situation don't. And if you look at what's his name again, Caicedo, whatever his bleeding name is, he's looking the other way. He's completely looking the other way. But as Casey Jones is looking down at the floor, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying they're not identical. The photo looks the same.
They're not. No, but the outcome's pretty much the same.
Yeah, but they're not, because one was red and one wasn't. So they're not.
But all right. Yeah, the outcome of the actual end game.
It was contact. It was contact. So like I think.
Contact.
I think, but then not every contact is a red card. Not every injury is a red card. I remember Cisse running down on his own with no one near and broke his bleeding leg.
I don't think Curtis Jones was a red card. You probably argue that the one yesterday could have been. You could argue that they're both yellows if Caicedo really didn't mean it.
I just think that's why
playing football
didn't get involved. You know, I reckon that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but then why do they get involved in other incidents where there's no cards involved?
And this is the evolution of VAR that needs to happen. And I've said this 10 times, millions of times. I think VAR should get involved in more than it currently does. Absolutely, to keep the simulation. And I think because you've just said why, and I agree with that, because in someone else's eye that is a yellow. So to someone else that isn't a clear and obvious error. So we've got this problem with the clear and obvious error. So there's things like in VAR that definitely needs to change. But like you said, they are
clear and obvious.
More right.
What's clear and obvious?
Yeah, but it's like consistency, mate, isn't it? It's like beauty and consistency. It's in the eye.
I'd rather have the inconsistencies of a pair of eyes without the inconsistencies of a pair of eyes that's rewinding something 10 times, 20 times, 15 times, whatever.
Why have we got VAR then, mate? Why have we got VAR? Because people have been moaning that we need another pair of eyes to see a decision in a different view to where the match officials were. So we can't win. When you step back from the emotion of it, we've only got VAR because football has been moaning about it for years.
Yeah. They have.
Now we've got it. Oh, let's get rid of it. And then as soon as you get rid of it, you say, well, actually, let's have VAR come on. Well, now I think somewhere, I can't remember what it was. Was it Italy or somewhere where VAR got stopped for a bit and then they brought it back in? Where was that?
I don't know.
Was it America? It must have been America, actually.
Oh, well, let's judge it on the American Soccer League.
I think they stopped. Well, don't forget, Howard Webb and Pete Walton was leading on that.
Yes,
and I think that's what I'm trying to connect it. Howard Webb was doing it. He was like a world leader in VAR, which is why I do believe he'll get it right. But what Howard wants and the PGM want and what football wants, I think are the same thing, you know. But what IFAB wants are different. And that's what we're up against. And I think if you get back from the emotion of it, I genuinely believe that Howard Webb wants what the majority of football fans want and never is.
Right. But I love it. I love it that you use the word emotion, because that's football. Emotion and passion. That's why you get involved. That's why we go and watch it. That's what VAR's killing. The emotion, the passion, the moment that, the split goal that now you don't really celebrate because you don't know whether it's going to be allowed or not. That goal yesterday for me, I get technically why they've disallowed it. What it a clear and obvious error?
One, disallowed, the Van Dijk one.
Yeah, I get it technically, but what it a clear and obvious error by the referee and the lino not to give it? No. So why did they get involved? Because there'll be that'll. I'll tell you what. And this is what pissed me off about it. That will happen again, right? This season, and the goal will be given. And that's the if you're consistent as the video assistant referee.
I would say the opposite, mate. I would say the opposite. I would say how many times has it already happened and nothing's been done?
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think it's always. I think people recognise that. I don't know what happened there. I remember doing a podcast with Mark Clattenburg, and he said that Pierluigi Collina said to him in a semi-final, it was Real Madrid against someone, and he said Real Madrid have got this tactic where they block people very early on in a set piece on a corner or a free kick in the last third delivered into the box. So the first time it happened, Clattenburg pulled on it, said, I know what you're doing. And they all went, it didn't happen again. It didn't happen again. Now, he preempted that. I'm just wondering if people have clocked, like Liverpool has done this before, as a tactic, and they identified it sort of like, it's a big game. Do you know what I mean? Money gets
right. So football's been televised for the last 70-odd years, okay? And action replays and was it in, was it out, did he foul, did he not, has been talking points at half-time and end times forever. Only lately, more and more money's become involved. And it's a real, if you get the points, you get the money. And now I think people are so at risk of being taken to court because it should have been a goal when it didn't, that VAR started coming in to say, right, we can stop that from happening by making the decision on the field. I originally, when VAR came in, thought it was a good thing. But over time, I'm now seeing that it actually isn't. And I'm actually starting to think that televised football might not be a good thing either. Because honestly, just let the fans see what the ref does, argue on the field, piss off, have a pint, and talk about it afterwards. All these video replays, lines down, a body line, was it in? It's just causing far too many arguments for my liking anymore.
Yeah, and do you know what's suffering while all this argument is going on? The game. The game, what people fell in love with. I much prefer watching football when VAR is not involved. Were it Newcastle Sunderland that game in FA Cup this year? Unbelievable. And there were mistakes made. And just watching the game and knowing when a goal went in, if there weren't a flag or a whistle, it were a goal, it were instant. It literally, I know people argue to bring it in. I were never really that big of a fan. I thought goal line technology were brilliant, still is. I won't get rid of that. I have no idea why they didn't choose to put in the semi-automated offside system where the computer kind of does it for you, and you're not pissing about drawing lines on toes and dicks. Basically,
if it was that easy, why isn't it being brought in?
Well, they use it in Europe.
Yeah, but why do you reckon that's being brought in?
It'll be a money thing, won't it? Let's be honest.
It'll be the club thing. It'll be a club thing,
right?
It'll be the club thing. So the referees get battered when things go wrong.
No.
And then people are saying we can do this automated offsides, but as really, because of the clubs.
I'm not really battering referees. I feel sorry for them.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying.
I know, but would you want a referee now? They're under the microscope more now than they've ever been, ever.
No, I agree.
They must be shitting themselves, thinking, "Fucking hell, what do I do? Do I give this penalty? Do I not give it? I'll tell you what, I won't give it, and then I'll wait for VAR to call me and tell me whether it were." And then the guy in the room will be like, "Oh, yeah, get it. Should I give it? Should I make a good monitor? What should I do?" Everybody's panicking because of all the shit that they're getting for mad, crazy decisions. They must sit there thinking.
We've created a Frankenstein. Football's become Frankenstein monster because this is a bit like, I can't remember who said this. I don't think it was Simon Joe. Someone said it. And I thought, okay. And it's a bit like saying, someone was saying the wife's overweight, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight. And everyone's moaning like they are about football. Blah, blah, blah. And then when she found out lose weight and she looked lovely, she left him. And then he went, I wish I didn't lose weight. I wish I had her back because I like that. I like that when she had more weight. Do you see what I mean? And people were analysing that. They keep changing, and they think what they want it looks like. And then when it gets there, there's consequences of what they wanted. And I think with football, I think we're there. I think we've created Frankenstein as fans, all of us. They really think I don't moan at Liverpool match if something goes against us. And I think we've created a Frankenstein. VAR has become a Frankenstein monster of football because it's become over analytical right from the time when headsets come in. Headsets come in just after I stopped when I got injured and I had to retire. Now and then when I started see referees using, I was coaching them and stuff like that. I felt like the headsets were taking your gut instinct away from me as a referee because you could talk to your linos and think other things are going on. Look, trust me here, mate, this has happened. We've got that 10 times fold with VAR. And I think like what you touched on, Wayne, is it's taking away your gut instinct with referees where they're thinking, oh fuck, is he going to come in? And I think and then I think you've got what happened with Darren England, bless him, is that, they didn't know what to do. They froze.
Wayne's mate.
Yeah, I met him. He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. And I've heard so much good stuff about him. And I don't think he's done many games since, by the way. I don't think anyone's clocked that. I think he's only done 2 or 3 games.
Do you know what, mate?
About accountability, mind.
Why would he want to?
Yeah, we're talking about accountability.
He got it wrong. Yeah, he got it wrong. There's no 2 ways about it. But my God,
has he been punished or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad. And when you see that, do you really think he wanted that? Do you really think they get all these and Everton fans are the worst for this conspiracy thing? Absolutely terrible. Here we are talking on a day to get 4 points back, which is great. I'm really pleased with Everton on that, honest. And I think when we look at what's happened, particularly with him, because that really changed the narrative, didn't it? That was a big mistake. But it's corruption. It was just a mistake. And then you get things like yesterday, how many mistakes they had, and if that went to penalties, whoever missed the penalty, they wouldn't get anywhere near the blame than what the ref would have got for missing that tackle on Gravenberg. Do you know what I mean? So it's this measure of accountability that I hate in football. And I think that's screwing up football more than VAR. these imbalance of a player's mistake to a referee's mistake, and then they're all thrown in. Now you can watch a five. You can rewind it, look at 5 angles. Hang on a sec. They were still getting the same level of unbalance and abuse way before VAR. So don't do that. This is just that VAR has become another tool to say the referees are shite, the linos are shite. That's all this has become. And I think, and that's sad. That's sad when I think when they get it right, like you said, Wayne, about the automated offside. I think the clubs who are moaning about it the most, and I love if anyone listens to this who's attached to a club to pull me on this. I think they don't want it. Like they with the live mics. You know, IFAB have said.
Why would they not want? Why would they not want it? The only reason they cannot want it is this is going to sound really controversial. The only reason they cannot want it, can I even say this?
Go on.
Well, because right, I've had this conversation with my pals. Literally, if they wanted to, corruption-wise, I know Martin won't have this, and fair enough, and it's probably pie in the sky. They can influence a game now whichever way they want.
Well,
they really can.
Players.
No, the officials doing the lines drawing and all that, and you know, I just find it mad. I just find it mad why they won't want it. I find it mad that they're happy for us to wait 3, 4, 5 minutes.
I think the refs want it. I think
no, I don't mean the refs.
Well, I don't mean any corruption
the
about with refs there. I think that's right. I don't think it's any. I just think like the live mics. Don't forget this mic'd up thing. Everyone moans about it, but everyone watches it. Everyone's interested in it. They'll moan about it, saying, "Oh, I was picked this thing and not that one." You know, you can't believe and win. But he's fundamentally changed the game with regards to allowing those conversations to be shown to the public. Now he wants them live. I'm pretty sure he wants those decisions live. The players don't want it live. Don't want it live. Have you ever heard one swear word on that mic'd up live on Sky? No, you haven't. No. You're telling me there's no swear words and abuse, really? And I think I don't think Albert Webb's doing anything on this. I'm sure the LMA and the PFA said, look, if you are going to produce these live, don't make our players and our managers look terrible with their language and stuff. I'd stick my house on that. So this is what's going on. This is what's going on. We're still being manipulated from the fact that this is to show referees good or got it wrong. Nothing to say the players done anything wrong or the players' behaviour's done anything wrong. And I think when you have the open mic, which I would absolutely stick my house on, that the PGMO wanted to be open mic live, you watch the behaviours change. You watch the behaviour. We don't need no blue cards then. We don't need no sin bins then, because these will check themselves. And I'm all for it. Open them up live. Watch the referee's job be a lot easier, because they'll get caught out, saying all the things they say to match officials when their kids and their wives and their mothers can hear them live on Sky Sports, calling the referee all their names on the bleeding.
You know what really pisses me off about modern footballers? We were on about this yesterday in when we were out having a drink, and it's like there's no characters anymore, is there? You know, like you think about your characters when they used to talk after games, and there were some real good characters. Now they're so concerned with the image and people knowing what they're saying. Have you seen them when they're talking on games? They go like this, and I'm like, why? Why just say what you're saying? Who gives a shit?
But do you know what else that is? Do you know what else that is? You're right there, Wayne, because referees and line-up started doing it, didn't he? I remember clearly when I was on the list and I was on telly and I was putting my hands over my mouth. Because
did you do it for that reason?
Because what you say to the referee, if everyone sees what you say to him, and when he comes together, everyone can read your lips, and you're making a decision for him that he might not have been like privy to. What does that look like? And I think that goes on. But now you've still got the same thing going on, but they don't have to come together and do it because the lineup's over there mic'd up and he can hear every word he bleeding says. Yeah. So I mean, but players haven't got that privilege. And also, don't forget, I think because it's so active, so live, and it'd be really interesting to see what you think if I'm on the right wavelength here. I think they cover their mouths to say what the tactics are, and they don't want them to read what the tactics are because
I get that in game when they're at a free kick. It's after games when they're talking and you know they're walking off together and they're going like this and they're going like that. Who cares? Just let us see what you're saying. No, that's good insight. That's characters. You know, you don't see enough of it. I think.
Well, why do you think they cover the mouths then, mate? Why do you think they do it?
Me or Wayne? Other Wayne?
I
don't think they want people to look. We live in a world, don't we, where technology is mental, and there's definitely going to be somebody out there that reads the lips of every player and they probably post it out somewhere. So they probably
Yeah.
wanted to keep it private. And I get it.
Well,
I
they're
do
so
get it.
terrified of being cancelled.
But at the
for
same
saying the wrong
time,
Hey,
thing.
well done, Wayne. That's it.
What-
On the neck.
what-
They're
what's
terrified
that?
of being cancelled for saying
I
anything that
know,
might
but
offend
what
anybody.
can they possibly be saying? You know, it generally happens player to player on the same team. Sometimes it's other team. You know, what you're like, well, what can they be saying? Well done, or yeah, you fucking dickhead. I don't know how you got that win over us today. What's it? What can they really be saying to him that nobody can
Listen,
see?
Wayne, I think you're right. If footballer A bants off to footballer B, neither of those footballers are going to be offended. What's going to happen is somebody will be offended on their behalf that was watching and read the lips, kick off a storm, and suddenly one of them finds himself cancelled for something that was completely innocent, because that's where we're living now.
Listen, do you know what I remember early on in ref support, before I got the profile I've got now, which I'll never take for granted, is I
You
remember
tell us about your profile. You've not said. You're not mentioned it.
you mentioned it more than me.
I love it. I love it when you on. Martin Cassidy's on today. Fucking hell, Martin's on again. Let's get it on. Let's have a watch.
Because that I forgot. Oh yeah, I said there was a couple managers were giving it loads. Can't remember who it was. And I put, I don't know why Sky Sports put this up on Facebook. Let's go over to Knobhead World and let's hear from Knobhead number one. That's what I said. Oh my God, I got absolute. You need to retract. You shouldn't be saying Knobheads. You're a registered charity. You're this, you're that. And I was like, so why actually apologise here? And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to stick with my gut instinct. And I was like, no, I'm not apologising. He's a Knobhead. He's what I would call a Knobhead. No, how many things get far worse than Knobheads and no one says a word?
I seen you having a pop of the day to your old friend Mr. Warnock.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'll be honest with you. I do actually like him as a character. I must admit, I'm not, but I just hate what he does with regards to.
Martin, would it be possible at all that he'd come on here with us?
I don't know. I'd love to be somewhere with him. I reckon we'd have a laugh, because if you remember when I said the bit about Arteta has become a Mercedes version of Neil Warnock, he actually, because it did trend, and the Telegraph did something with it, and he retweeted it, and he said, "And Martin Cassidy's a 3-wheel van of Ref Support UK." Yeah. So then I went back, I did a Photoshop of Del Boy's van, and instead of having Paris, New York, and Peckham, I put Western Supermare, and then sent it back to him, and he put a thumbs up and he retweeted it. And then when he said he was manager of Aberdeen, it's funny, I was up there on last Wednesday, I was up there. I just put up, when he's manager of Aberdeen, I retweeted and said, "Do you reckon this yellow van will make it up to Aberdeen?" So and then he liked it, and I think having that sort of like leveling where it is football, it is passion, but he's become what I said about him the other day, and he said, "I don't know why we're not leaving our foot in." He said, "They got beat 2-0, didn't he? We're too nice. We should be leaving our foot in. We should be." And I said, "Maybe it's not the 1990s now, lad. Do you know what I mean? Not the 1990s." And that's what I was saying. But does he really, really, really want to hurt players? Those days are gone. Come on. Do you know what I mean? You just spent ages talking about what happens in the League Cup final, people going over the top. Now he's actively saying, "I don't know why we don't do that." And that's what I was saying. It's not the 1990s, Neil. That's why I didn't.
I do like him. He's a character. He's Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or hate him. I like him, but
I tell you what, come on a scale of people I dislike more. I dislike Keith Hackett more than Warnock, because Keith Hackett should know better. And Keith Hackett has become an activator, I believe, for the abuse of top flight referees more than anyone else, because he's been there and does it. He goes on these shows and starts the snowball of abuse. I think he's an absolute disgrace. I think
he's quite inflammatory on X, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Keith Hackett does more harm to referees and starts more abuse to referees than Neil Warnock does. I really genuinely believe that. That's what I believe, and I think
maybe we should get him on.
Yeah, I don't think I could go on. I don't think I could control myself, if I was honest.
Really?
No, honestly,
I think I'm having to put a lot of bleeps into post production.
And don't forget, right? Don't forget, when I was on the Football League, he was my gaffer for a bit, and I thought he was a disgrace. The things he did and made, and he acts like he's the big. Oh, look what when I was in charge, I did this. Well, how come you're still saying this shit now? Then, well, what's all that about? You couldn't have done that good. You couldn't have laid a good foundation. Because you're
really funny, actually. Can you imagine playing it back and all we could hear from you? Well, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy with him. And because I do, Jenny, he's been there, he's done it. he knows what it's like to be questioned like that. He knows he's seen colleagues go through what they went through, and I know he has, and yet he still starts off with his nonsense just to feel credible. And I just think it's a bit like getting Fred Flintstone to do a service on a Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? Just so out of date. Just park it, Neil. Just park it. And I think, you know, I'd have far more chance of listening to Neil Warnock about his critique of the referees than Hackett's, because Hackett's got a clear agenda that he wasn't kept on. He says he was going to go, but it's been said before in other news articles that he wanted to go, but they let him go, and he's carried this like with him on his shoulders of like this bitterness where he just starts. He knows what he's doing. He'll never go in there and say they're all brilliant, because that'll be a bit like getting Burger King to go into McDonald's and go, "Oh, aren't these lovely burgers?" Not going to happen, because their agenda is that it's a different agenda, and that's what it's like with him. And I think it's sad, and I think it's wrong, and I just wish he'd shut up.
On that note, I reckon we wrap us first one back. Been a good one, actually. Been a bit heated on it today. A little bit.
Like that. Let's argue more.
No, good. That's what we're here for. We're not here to lick each other's asses. We're here to give us an opinion and thoughts and stuff. And if we respectfully disagree, we respectfully disagree. It's good to be back, actually. It feels good to get my footballing frustrations off my chest this evening. Remember, we're back now, so hopefully we'll be able to keep this going. Every week we'll drop a new one, probably Wednesday. Everywhere you can find us at the Ref Pod, which is at the Ref Pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What else is there? Deezer, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere at the Ref Pod, YouTube. Yeah, get at us. If you're listening to it, if you're watching it, drop us a text, drop us a tweet, drop us a message. If you want to come on, if anybody knows with Neil Warnock, I'd love to get Neil Warnock on. Martin's got some work to do and getting us some new guests on, preferably not.
I reckon he'd have more of a lap with Neil Warnock than he would with Hackett, because Hackett should know better. And I just think, I just think Neil Warnock, you know, the different ilk, and I think sometimes he plays up for it. Do you know what I mean? As a pantomime character, and I just think, yeah. But listen, what I want to say is thank you to those people who sent us messages saying, "Where's your pod? When's it coming back?" I know we've all changed jobs.
Yeah,
we've all changed roles.
Yeah, somebody messaged me actually. Well, they messaged our Twitter page, and asked when we were coming back, and it was just great. And somebody actually come up to me. I do a bit of DJing at weekend. So did I tell you this, Martin? Somebody came up to me and said, do you do Ref Pod? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they watched the Ref documentary that we did, and yeah, well, that blew me away a little bit. That you just don't know, do you? Don't know. Like a lot of my mates as well have said, when's it coming back? We really loved it. So it is good to be back. Well,
we're providing a public service chance.
Well, listen, it's difficult when we've all changed jobs, like we all have, haven't we? We've all changed jobs. All things going on in our lives, but we don't make any money out of this. In fact, we pay to do this with regards to the stuff we got to pay, and all the time that Wayne puts in more than anyone else, which is I'll always really appreciate. And I just think sometimes you just got to calibrate and put other things first, like our families and our jobs. And I think no one should hold that against us.
Well, yeah, but you guys are social media info now, aren't you? So Wayne, you're Mr. Facebook, and Martin, you're Mr. Twitter.
I got a Mr. Twitter. Well, I do. I start arguing with myself on Twitter.
You're going to go on and support yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'll go batter myself. Yeah, I ain't getting
But anyway, right, brilliant to be back. Boys, thank you. Great session, great session, whatever you want to call it. And we'll be back next week. Get in touch. If there's any topics that you want to talk about, if you're involved, we're not just in this for the elite side of the game. So if you're involved at football, at any level, really, and you've got something to talk about as referees, we'll get you on. We'll get you on. We've had a couple of refs on, haven't we? Actually, that have working at the grassroots level. So if you'd like to come on, if you've got a good story to tell us, anything really, we'll jump on anything really. We'll support anything. If there's issues going off anywhere, Martin will dive in. So yeah, boys, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, tata.